Hi, Crusaders. St. Philip's here. Happy Feast of St. Thomas Aquinas, the Angelic Doctor. I'm here in Madonna Hall, the Madonna Quad. This is where faculty offices are. And if you look over here, there's actually a lot of construction happening. So there's going to be an expansion of that. And that is set to be complete hopefully at the end of this year. So when you're students, you should be seeing that. And again, that's for faculty. But for today, in honor of this big feast day, we're going to go talk to Dr. Andrew Whitmore. So come on in. We're going to go to his office here, see if he's available.
Come on in.
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
Hey, Sam. Good to see you.
Great. So we're just filming here. So for our incoming students, I'm going to get the door and love to talk more about St. Thomas and his role. But first off, Dr. Whitmore, for our incoming students, talk a little bit about your role here at the school and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I wear two hats at the school. So I'm the academic dean currently, as well as a professor in theology. So for the academic dean, some of the main roles that I have are I approve transfer credits as they come into the college. I enforce academic policies, and I also oversee our advising system between faculty and students. So a lot of my time is spent with students working one-on-one, making what we call these path to graduation charts, where we're basically making sure that all the core requirements, major requirements, graduation requirements are met so nothing falls through the cracks.
That's great. So for students, if you have transfer credits, like you went to community college, you have AP credits, Dr. Whitmore is going to be the one to help you to answer how that's going to come in, what class it'll satisfy, what class you might still need to take. So it's a great resource there.
Yeah.
So you'll definitely be interacting with Dr. Whitmore.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But let's get into the fun stuff. It's the Feast of St. Thomas Aquinas. People maybe hear that Christendom, we're Thomistic in our approach. For some people, what does that mean? What does it mean to say that we're Thomistic in our approach here in our curriculum?
Yeah, we have a Thomistic charism here at Christendom, and I think that really means two different things. So, firstly, what it means is that we focus on St. Thomas Aquinas and his thought. St. Thomas Aquinas is just one of the most brilliant minds to have ever existed. I mean, think of the amount that he understood, all that he retained, his crystal clear articulation of it, in such a wide variety. I mean, we know him for theology, but also philosophy, his influence on politics, his influence on the liturgy. We think of the Mass of Corpus Christi, his Eucharistic hymns, right? So he's just an incredible influence on our Catholic tradition. So we focus on St. Thomas's thought in our coursework, and not just theology. He's read primary source texts in many of our different disciplines, in theology especially, and I would say that all of our theology electives are structured around Aquinas' treatises in his different texts, especially the Summa Theologiae. So that'd be one sense that we have a Thomistic charism. But in another sense, I'd say we also think and teach Thomistically. And so we're not just kind of going back in time to St. Thomas's day, but we are going back to his day to figure out, how did he teach? How did he learn? What did he think? And what we see is that he was always challenging the major objectors of his day, whether they be pagan or Muslim or Jewish, whether it be philosophy, theology, science, politics. He would always address the major objections of the day and confront them and then be able to make distinctions and bring it back to the whole. So we're going back, we're reading the primary source text there, and then we're kind of thinking like, well, what if Thomas were alive today? How would he respond to the major objectors of our day in our culture, in science and politics and theology and all that as well?
Right, so it's not just some study of the past, as much as it is that it's a foundation to give you principles and how you can apply that to your current time setting. So
Exactly.
very relevant for whatever you're doing here. So, okay, taking a pivot here. So that's awesome, St. Thomas and his role here at Christendom. For you, you've published a book on St. Thomas and the virtues. So for incoming students, whether it's right now preparing for college or some habits of virtue they can cultivate as students, what is a tip you can give using a principle from St. Thomas that they can start to cultivate in their own life?
So my area of specialty is Thomas's virtue theory, and he's got so much to offer there. I think our tuition when we want to grow in virtue is, what vices do I have, and what are the opposite virtues? And so we want to work on those. And I mean, that's a good intuition. We want to grow in those virtues, but the problem is we don't have them, or we stink at them. So we start working on them, and then it doesn't go so well, and a few times it doesn't go so well, and we get discouraged, and we can give up. And so St. Thomas has this idea of the connectivity of the virtues, that all the virtues are connected. And this makes sense because a virtue is a perfection of our character. And our character is one, it's whole. So what the virtues do is they integrate us, they make us whole, they bring our intellect and our will and our passions together for one purpose. So you believe they're all connected. So what that means is anytime you grow in any virtue, you grow in all of the virtues. It's like the rising tide lifts all boats sort of thing. So the advice coming from Aquinas would be, yeah, you can still work on the virtue that you're weak in, but you might find more success, and maybe even quicker success, if you focus on virtues you're already better at and perfecting those. So for example, if somebody's struggling with chastity or something, they try to be chaste and it doesn't work out and they get discouraged. Rather than focusing on chastity, maybe you're better at justice. And so reframe it in your mind. Rather than I'm going to try to do the chaste thing, I'm going to do the just thing. What do I owe this person right now in this circumstance? And so as you perform the just thing, because virtue is connected, if you do the just thing, you're also doing the chaste thing. But you've reframed it, you're leaning on a virtue that's comes more easily to you. So as you grow in justice, you're growing in chastity as well, in all the virtues.
That's great. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but it's kind of reframing that to build on the strengths you have, and then in so doing to be more well-rounded in those.
Yeah, play to your strengths.
That's awesome. Well, great. Well, thanks so much for those insights. A lot of great things to look forward to here at Christendom. Of course, looking to the example of St. Thomas and some wonderful professors like Dr. Whitmore. So much to be excited about for this August, but happy feast day.
Happy feast day.